Angie contacted Arbor Homes about 2 years ago and had interest in seeing if it was possible to build a barrier-free home to accommodate her disabilities and live independently. And so we were really thrilled to get that call, and it was a process that started and really took a couple of years to put together.
Since my sister Angela's accident 4 years ago, her life has changed, obviously pretty drastically. One thing that we learned as her family and close friends is that the world is not an accessible place. It's definitely not accessible or inclusive, and that's something that you just don't know until you have to. It's a club that nobody wants to join, but when you're in it for life.
WCB were a significant trade partner with us in this project because we really felt that they went out of their way to ensure that what we were doing was realistic, was safe, and made sense for her lifestyle.
So the last 4 years we've been helping her with all of her day-to-day tasks, things that she could have done on her own, something as simple as filling a water bottle, which it's not that she physically couldn't do it, it's that a whole house wasn't accessible to her at that time. So we've been helping her tremendously, and it's exciting to know that now she can do all these things on her own and gain the independence, and just more of a self-worth, knowing that she doesn't have to ask somebody to do a really simple task. My first experience with Arbor, my sister and I were window shopping, you could say, at new homes. Val had never met my sister at this point, and basically last minute we asked if we could come view a home that they were building, and they welcomed us in with open arms. They literally had their construction team carry my sister in and out of homes, up and down stairs, so that she could see the entire house. They were nothing short of amazing. Just everything has been above and over the top and then some.
Angie needed to have a house that would accommodate wheelchair living, that would give her an independent lifestyle, and that could accommodate care facilitators if that was necessary and when it was necessary. And she needed a home builder that was prepared to invest the time in learning about that, but just work and walk alongside with her in it. The building process was it was the same, and yet it was quite different. It was really important to Angie that she didn't live in a home that reminded her of a hospital or an institution. And this is going to be a home that she will live in, hopefully, for the rest of her life and enjoy. And so we had to keep a lot of things in mind, not just how she was, how circumstances and her abilities today, but as she gains her freedom from living independently, what could it be like for her in 5 years? But then conversely, as she ages, what will it be like when she's 85 or 90? One of Angie's dreams was to be able to have a bath and to be able to do her own personal care and hygiene on her own with a minimum of help. Because if her goal is to live independently, then she needs to be able to do those things safely and conveniently. The most helpful thing was to have a lift where she would put herself into a sling in her bedroom, in her bed, and then it would remotely take her and put her in her bathtub. And with the help of her occupational therapist and with equipment salespeople, we were able to put together something that would work for her to do that.
Knowing that this track goes all the length of her bedroom and her washroom, she'll be able to do all her own personal care, gain her freedom that she hasn't had for 4 years, where she doesn't have to have another person in her home to get up for the day. For the last few years, my sister has missed out when there's a family gathering and part of the family members go to a place that she can't access, or having a place of her own but not being able to see what's downstairs.
It was really important that Angie could use all parts of her home, including the basement. Although the main floor is big enough, she would never need to, but she is very robust and wants to be able to exercise and do that down in her basement. So the best way for us to do that was to have an elevator. And Severia are a company that we've worked with a few times on home elevators. In fact, this year we've put 4 of their elevators in. And so this one was a little bit different because it had to be specific to her chair and her needs, and again to consider what she would need in the future as well as now. But the elevator is really significant because it means that she can enjoy all parts of her home and she can do that safely. Adora Kitchen and Cabinetry were able to help with the design of the kitchen. One of the really important things that I learned, and I think is really significant for people who are cooking, who have very limited feeling, is induction cooking on the stove top, as well as the ability for her to pull her chair underneath her stove so that she can safely work in those areas, as well as with hot water, because she wouldn't feel the heat, and so she could get injured very easily. So Adora were very good at knowing and understanding how the kitchen should function, keeping that in mind. Our appliances came from Baker's Appliances here in Lethbridge. They're a local store. One of the things that we did that I think is brilliant is we've got an oven that opens to the side so that Angie doesn't have to flip down in front, but rather opens to the side so she can get right in. And then we have a pull-out breadboard in the cupboard so she can take the things from the oven to the breadboard safely and then close the oven door. The other thing that I think is significant is the dishwasher. We went to a drawer dishwasher because she doesn't need a huge dishwasher, she just needs a small one, and a drawer one that pulls out, so anytime you can bring something to her rather than her having to crawl in for it, it's a very helpful thing. So both the dishwasher and the oven met that criteria.
We were in Van Arbor Stars Lottery home and they had marmoleum flooring. And then once she learned that not only was it beautiful, it was extremely durable, and it was the perfect choice for her. One thing that I've seen over the last 4 years with my sister being in a chair is it takes a toll on a house. Floors, walls. So to have something that's durable, that she can freely move around in, is just the best case scenario.
Our flooring came from McNamara's Flooring Studio here in Lethbridge. I think the most significant thing about the flooring, and the thing that we appreciated about McNamara's the most, was the work that they put in and how intentional they were to make sure that the flooring had no transitions, so that she could easily go from one flooring area to the next. So for example, she could go from the garage into the house, and that those thresholds were done very, very accurately and very well. For Van Arbor, for my husband and myself and my staff, the thought of being asked to create something that would make such a significant change to a person's life it's been a very moving experience. And it became very important to me very early on that I didn't spend too much time on what happened and her story, because it's a very unusual and a very tragic and sad story, but rather that we concentrated on what she really needed from Van Arbor and from me, and that was to build her a good home that would work, that would give her a quality of life that she could not have experienced in any other way. Whenever things would get difficult, I would have to come back to myself and say, Angie didn't come to me for sympathy, she didn't come for an opinion on what happened or on her life or anything else. What she came to Van Arbor for was the expertise and the help that she could receive in building a home that would change her life, and that kept everybody going.
There's a big difference between surviving and thriving. For the last 4 years, my sister has been surviving day to day. Now is her time to actually begin to thrive.